If you're a dog owner, you totally get it. That constant worry about fleas and ticks, it really is a never-ending battle. But what if there was a simpler and even more effective way to protect our pups? Well, today, we're going to dive deep into the science behind a new, all-in-one chewable medication by looking at a huge European study that really put it to the test.
First things first, let's be super clear about what we're actually up against here. Because these little critters, they're not just a minor annoyance. For our dogs, fleas and ticks are a serious health threat, and believe me, the risks go way beyond just a little bit of scratching. So, what are the specific dangers we're talking about? Well, fleas can trigger this really painful condition called flea allergy dermatitis. You might have heard it called FAD. It leads to just miserable, constant itching and skin inflammation. And ticks? Well, as most of us know, they're basically tiny vectors for some serious illnesses like Lyme disease. So yeah, we're not just talking about pests, we're talking about real, genuine threats to our dog's health.
With stakes that high, the search for better protection is always on. And that's exactly where science steps in. So we're going to get an inside look at a major clinical trial that tested a brand new approach to preventative medicine.
The medication they were testing is called Simparica Trio T. And what's really different about it is this all-in-one approach. It's a single chewable tablet that combines 3 active ingredients. The whole idea is to give your dog broad protection against fleas, ticks, and even internal parasites like heartworm and roundworms, all in one easy monthly dose.
So the whole point of this study was to see how this new tablet actually performed out in the real world. Not in some sterile lab, but on hundreds of pet dogs across Germany, Hungary, and Portugal that were already dealing with fleas and ticks. The big questions were, is it safe, and does it really work for a full month?
Now, to get answers you can trust, scientists used a really rigorous study design. They randomly put dogs into 2 groups. One group got the new Simparica Trio, and the other group got a well-established, already approved medication called NexGard Spectra to act as the control. This kind of head-to-head comparison is really the gold standard for proving if a new drug is the real deal.
And they didn't just, take a quick peek. To measure how effective it was, the researchers were incredibly meticulous. They followed a super strict protocol, combing and searching every single dog for at least 10 minutes, and then they kept going in 5-minute chunks until they were absolutely positive every last parasite had been found and counted. That level of detail is just crucial for getting accurate data.
All right, so after all that careful setup and all that meticulous counting, what did the data actually show? Let's get to the good stuff, the results, and see how this new medication really performed against those stubborn pests.
Let's start with fleas. And wow, the numbers here really speak for themselves. In just 14 days after getting a single dose of Simparica Trio, the number of live fleas on the dogs dropped by an average of 97.9% compared to before they got the treatment. That is a massive and super fast takedown.
But here's the real question, right? Does that effect last? And the data shows, yep, it absolutely does. By day 30, a full month after that one little chewable tablet, the flea reduction was even higher at 98.6%. That shows a really solid month-long effectiveness.
Okay, so what about ticks? Well, the performance was just as impressive. The effectiveness stayed incredibly high for the entire month. The reduction in live ticks was over 94% at every single check-in, and it hit a whopping 98.6% by day 30. That is what you call consistent, high-level protection.
So, after digging through all this data, the scientists reached a really important statistical conclusion. Simparica Trio was non-inferior to the controlled drug. Now, in plain English, that just means it was proven to work every bit as well as the existing trusted medication it was up against. It met that high bar that was set for it.
But the study didn't just stop at parasite counts. It also looked at the direct impact on the dog's health and their quality of life, especially for those poor pups suffering from the painful effects of flea allergies.
And this is where we see the real-world impact on a dog's happiness. For those with flea allergy dermatitis, the improvement was just dramatic. Before the treatment, every single one of the allergic dogs was suffering from itching. 1 month later, that dropped to only 20%. And even more incredible, the hair loss from all that scratching, it went from affecting 60% of them all the way down to 0, gone.
This quote directly from the study really hits home just how significant that finding is. For a dog that's suffering from FAD, this isn't just a number. It's a massive relief from constant, nagging discomfort. Getting rid of the fleas that fast directly led to a huge improvement in their well-being.
So, beyond how well it worked, the study also confirmed 3 super important practical things. First, the dogs actually liked it. It was tasty enough that they just ate it voluntarily most of the time. Second, it had an excellent safety profile. And third, it was used safely right alongside other common medications. These are the kinds of things that are absolutely critical for using a product in the real world.
Okay, so we've walked through the science, the methods, and all that impressive data. So now for the most important question. What does all of this actually mean for our dogs and for us as their owners?
So, what's the bottom line here? This huge field study basically concluded that a single monthly dose of this combination chewable is a safe, super effective, and really convenient solution. It doesn't just provide month-long protection against fleas and ticks, it also brings real, tangible relief to dogs suffering from those painful flea allergies.
And this kind of leaves us with a final thought to chew on. With its broad-spectrum effectiveness, its proven safety, and just how easy it is to use, this study really suggests that a single monthly chewable could be a major step forward in how we protect our dogs. The science certainly seems to be pointing toward a simpler but way more comprehensive shield. And for more deep dives into the latest in veterinary science just like this one, make sure you're subscribed to Veterinary News.